Today, I'm going to show you the trade secrets of one of Australia's leading digital marketing agencies and show you exactly how we set up a Google Ads campaign for a business within the trades industry and exactly why we do it the way we do. My name is Brodie Shepherd. I'm one of the owners here at Site Centre. I want to kick things off today by saying no other company goes into the depth and detail in which we do and what you'll see in this video. Grab your notebook and pen and let's jump right in. If you like what you see in this video, please consider liking this video. It helps us see what people want to see and sort of gauge the questions that you might have, and that can help us produce more videos in the future. Click like, subscribe, comment. That's all helps us out immensely. The things we're going to cover in this video is setting up a new Google Ads account. I'm not going to go right into details for that. It's pretty self-explanatory. Go to ads.google.com, fill out your information, and you'll be displayed with a page that looks exactly like this. We're going to configure Google Analytics for accurate data and tracking of conversion metrics, find suburbs and keywords, create negative lists, write ads, work out bidding strategies, sort of discuss a few things here and there around click fraud, how we can go about getting rid of that, and a couple of the other key factors that no one really seems to cover in videos that I've seen online. So we'll kick things off, not necessarily in Google Ads itself, but a notepad. So the first thing we really want to do is work out our suburbs. So we really want to work out, okay, pick an industry. So we're going to do the plumbing industry today, just because that's in the trades industry. It's one of the largest trades here in Australia, and I'm pretty certain it's one of the largest trades around the world. So it's probably more topical to everyone. But it doesn't matter what industry you're in, whether you're pest control, electrician, whether you're a painter or a plasterer. It doesn't matter, as long as you're in the trades industry and you go out to someone's house. That's sort of all that matters here in the structure that we do. So we want to really focus on our suburbs, what ad groups we want to target. So we want to work out what our ads are going to show and how we're going to advertise and where we're going to advertise to. So one of the most important things to work out is your structure and how you're going to structure it. Now, most people will go out and just create an ad that targets their main area. It'll have 5 ads in it. That's not how we're going to do it. We're going to do it the proper way. It's the way that Google recommends doing it. It's just so time consuming for a trades industry targeting multiple suburbs, but it'll produce results far beyond what any other will do. Now, that being said, there is 2 different ways you can do it. We can do it the easy way that sort of works better for machine learning and the automated Google Ads strategy, or we can go about it doing the manual way. We're going to do the manual way. Along the way, if you do choose and did want to do the automated Google way, I'll cover off where you would change direction and at what point. So we want to write down sort of the categories within your industry. So we've got hot water, gas, block drains. We have general, which is just your general plumbing terms, plumber, plumbing, like all those sort of terms. Near me, so plumber near me or plumber nearby, those sort of terms. We want emergency as well. So these are the ad groups we're going to target. Seems pretty simple. We then need to go in and find how we're going to set it up. So if you haven't used Google Ads before, you may not be aware of the structure. So what we have is an account. So at an account level, you've got your billing and credit card. Everything is associated to this in billing and how things are charged to your account. That's the master account. From there, you zone out to what is called campaigns. So campaigns give you the ability to set locations, budgets, and sort of where you're wanting to what hours you're wanting to focus on. So hours hours, locations, and budget. Excuse my mouse typing. From there, you will zone out from a campaign to what is called an ad group. Now, ad groups are really important and a little bit undervalued or overused. So one campaign shouldn't have hundreds of ad groups. Ad groups are where your quality score, which we'll cover later, is ranked by your keywords is put under these. So then you've got keywords under this. So you really want to focus on these ad groups. This is where your ads are set. So your ads are set here and your keywords are set here as well. So you really want to make sure that these are set up correctly, but you need to make sure that first the ad groups are set up correctly. So how we're going to do this is break it down. So we're targeting one area. We're targeting Castle Hill. So Castle Hill is a suburb in Sydney, and it's got, this is the website for the Castle Hills plumber. So this is just a website we threw together, and it's got sort of the key elements that you'd want on a landing page for Google Ads. So when you're creating a landing page for Google Ads, there's a few metrics that you really want to keep an eye on. Google Ads really work well with offers and offering value to a user as an incentive to get them to give you a phone call or make a conversion action. So having things like our $55 off, $0 camera inspection, you can make these up for your industry. You can use whatever you want, but we recommend doing a little bit of research about what everyone else is doing and either better it or match it. What we have found though is if everyone is offering a $55 off discount and you make it $100 off, it actually has a negative effect to it. If you go too much greater than what everyone else is doing, it makes you seem like you're a little bit more expensive, or you're charging too much, and that's why you're able to give that bigger discount. So try to keep in the range of what everyone else is doing. Don't go out and spend too much money. So you want to have a big call to action, big phone numbers, big email forms. We're not targeting email conversions on this page. We're really focusing on calls, because ultimately at the end of the day, people convert via calls. Those that are trying to go for conversions via forms are going to see a far less conversion rate than people really pushing towards phone calls. So we've done the big phone call button. It wobbles to sort of draw your eye into that call to action. You also want to have what is called social proof. So proof in which you are local, you're a high-rated plumber or service worker, you're rapid response, and you're a premium service. From there, high graphics, very visual, nice, sort of a little bit of what you do and who you are, your services that you offer, and a couple FAQs with your call to actions at the bottom. Your book now form is still there. We haven't excluded it. It's just something that isn't being pushed as heavily as the phone number. You can see it's still very visual. You do want a navigatable website. So you want your website to be able to be navigated through, and that's really important. So there's another sort of call to action there. So we're really wanting people to be able to navigate through the site. That adds a lot of value in terms of your landing page experience, which Google uses as a ranking factor for your ad. So having navigation is really important. People also do like to go through. You'll find in your analytics whilst running ads, people do actually navigate through the site when they're using it. So the other thing to keep in mind is performance. So as you can see, pages are very quick. There is no real loading. It just instantly happens. That's really important for a user to experience such a fast website, because when you're paying for traffic to come in, and in the service industry it's typically expensive traffic, you want to make sure that they're going to convert. They're not going to bounce. If they bounce, you've lost money effectively. So make sure that your site's up to performance. As you can see, use a tool like GT Metrics. You want to get these scores right up. Don't be too concerned about the fully loaded time. Sign up to a free account. Use the timings and first paint. You want this first paint to be under 2 seconds. You can see here we're close to half a second. So you really want this score, the contentful paint, that's the first point in which the website is visually available to the user, so you can visually see graphics and so forth. That's really important to have as low as humanly possible. Using Google's official tool, PageSpeed Insights, it can also run through exactly how fast your website is. So 95 on a mobile, 87 on a desktop. So that really comes down to the index speed and the performance of your website based on the device you're using. So make sure your site is fast, use those tools. If your site isn't fast, pay someone to get it done for you to improve the speed. There's heaps of articles online on how to improve the performance of your website in terms of the speed. It's super important. It'll also help your quality score as well for your landing page experience. Making sure keywords, primary keywords on the page are in use on the landing page. That is really important because that's how people engage, that's how people see that you are actually a local. They really want to see that you're local. Even if your website is a completely different suburb, you're not in Castle Hill or you're targeting a big zone, like where we live on the Sunshine Coast. Sunshine Coast is an area, we have hundreds of suburbs within that area. If I want to target each and every suburb, I don't want to create a new website and I don't want to just put Sunshine Coast because then I won't have the keyword on the page. So what we've done is created a dynamic landing page. So if whatever this query is, we'll create a custom page for each one. So Caloundra, the logo changes to Caloundra, and other variables on the website will change to Caloundra, just to include that term on the page. So that's really important to make sure that those terms are appearing on the page contextually and visually. So that's going to improve the quality score, and no matter where they go from there, if it changes, that's fine, but as long as that landing page is there, they can experience that result that's personalized towards them. From there, we're going to go from the landing page and the performance of the landing page, because you really want to make sure that's set up correctly, because if it's not and you're not ready, you're going to send a lot of traffic to a website that just isn't going to convert. So make sure that your website's primed and ready to go for high conversions. Working out where you're going to target is the next thing. So we use a tool called freemaptool.com. I do believe it's hard to find this page if you go to their website. So there's the URL, we'll paste it in the description of the video as well. But basically come down, pick your address, so the exact address that you'd like to target and the kilometers at which you're happy to travel around. So we're going to put 15 kilometers, because this is pretty close to the CBD of Sydney, so we don't want to go right into Sydney. 15 kilometers is quite the drive anyway. Free text. And what this is going to do is going to put a radius around Castle Hill and exactly where Castle Hill is and all the suburbs that are around Castle Hill, including their postcodes. So you want to copy their postcodes because these can come in use later when we're using Google with the location targets. But these suburbs are what's really important. So for these suburbs, we want to create an campaign for each one of these. So that's quite time consuming. If I look at, there's 134 different suburbs. Now there are going to be a lot that you don't need. Centres, like town centres, you won't need. Parks, typically you won't need, but do your research. Your area, you'll know the research around that area, the suburbs in that area, whether you'll need to target them or not. You'll also see ones like south and north. You can typically get rid of those and just use the primary one. But if they are big areas, we have big areas here that are west, and we would still include those. So just go through this list, find them. You can get that list down quite a lot by just removing ones that are west, north. You'll find a lot that aren't really related to where you are as well. You'll find universities in there. There's a lot in there that you don't actually use. So paste that into your text document, and we'll use that in just a second. So obviously on this video, I'm not going to go through and create 134 of these, or even go through that list and work out what's legitimate and not. We're going to target the Castle Hill area, just the one suburb today in this video. But what you learn in this video, you'll need to replicate for all of these suburbs. That's where it gets time consuming. So we're going to create a Castle Hill. We're going to create a Castle Hill campaign. So in this example, we would have one of all these for each one of these. And we'll run through how to set that up. So in your new Google Ads account, you can click New Campaign. Now, pick what you want to target. So obviously in the service industry, we're after leads. We're not after sales, we're not selling products, we're not selling physical goods or online goods. We're not after the traffic. Traffic is irrelevant to us. It doesn't really matter, how much traffic you get is irrelevant. All you need is conversions. We're not selling products and we're not doing brand awareness campaigns or app promotions. So we definitely want to target this leads. This won't actually change anything to do with your account, more so the suggestions in which Google gives your account based on the results in which you start to see. Now, what we do want to target is the campaign type, to the search. We don't want to do a smart campaign. These typically don't work in the service industry. They do work really well in other industries, but the service industry is a little bit too competitive to look at that. We're not going to do video, although video is a great sort of source of brand awareness. Shopping, obviously we're not selling products. Display marketing is surprisingly very good, but for this we're going to set up search. Now, what we're after here is the website visit. So we want people to visit our website. That's how we're going to get people to call, and phone calls. Picking your suburb, pick your phone number. This isn't the phone number being used on here. So you can either use your real phone number here or a mobile number. It doesn't really matter. As long as this number is correct, this is the number that's going to get called. This is our site center phone number. I'm just going to use that for the purpose of this video. And obviously the website. Now, the campaign name, obviously we said we're going to target Castle Hill. And now we need to pick what category we're going to target first. Now, I'm going to target the block drains. So, Castle Hill, block drains. For the search network, it is a common debate whether you should use the Google Search Partners or the Google Display Network for your search campaigns. For this, I'm going to leave them on, and I'll show you how to run the report a little bit later to see after you've worked out whether it's going to work or not. Select your start date. Typically, I just leave it as default. However, if you do have a specific start date, do pick that. If you're going to pick right now, make sure you pause it before you start. In terms of locations, don't select Australia and just think you're going to work it out later. You really want to pick your area right now. The reason for that is if you forget and you start creating accounts and if you start creating accounts and all your ad groups and your keywords and your ads and it goes live, you're targeting the entire Australia. You can burn through a little bit of money by making that little mistake, and I've done it before. Now, the target audience is a tough one for the service industry. So people in or who show interest in your target locations. Now, this is really important because if you're in the Sunshine Coast like I am, up in Queensland, it's a completely different state to Sydney or Castle Hill. Do you want someone to be able to search for Castle Hill plumber and you come up? If no, people here. If yes, people here. Now, this is a tough one because typically the ad targeting in Australia is pretty poor. So people in the next suburb along or people in the suburb that you're actually targeting could be detected in the next suburb along and they're not going to see your ad. So that's something to really put into consideration. For example, Castle Hill Plumbers, it says that I'm here in Tenowa, which is up in Queensland, and I'm seeing ads for plumbers in Castle Hill. So some would see that as a waste of money, but it's actually not. It's keep it on. You do get good conversions from people outside the area, and there is a report you can run to verify that data. So typically how people that cold call, Google ad cold callers will get you to come over is they'll do searches around Australia. They'll find that you're coming up in their area for a different area. They'll call you, say, hey, you're not running it correctly, so forth. Then, that's irrelevant. Look at the report. The report will show everything. They won't show you that report. The report has the conversion data in it that verifies that you are actually getting legitimate conversions. So in your audiences, you do want to create a observation audience. Do not select target audience. That's for remarketing. Just search for your industry and search relevant categories and topics in which relate. So plumbing services, general contracting and remodeling services, not fixtures because we're not a store, home improvement, and home ownership are typically the ones I'd pick for this industry. Now, DIYs aren't the best for this because they're people after information. You're not really wanting to advertise to people that are just after information. Affinity audiences, home and garden is not too bad as well. So these are Google's way of identifying how it can help you expand to a bigger audience by programmatically determining their category and what they fit under these categories to whether they should bid for them a little bit more aggressively or not. So doing a manual campaign, this isn't so much important as it would be for you doing an automated campaign with Google's machine learning technologies. So we'll run over that, but it is still important to make sure that they're in there. Now, setting your daily budget is tricky because Google can go over that daily budget by up to double on any particular day, but it will average out over a 30-day period, calculated at 30.2 days, which is the average month for over a calendar year. So to work that out, typically a service-based business is opened 20 days of a month. So that's the calendar, so that's the 5 days in a work week times by 4. So to work it out, let's say I have a budget of $10,000 a month, and whatever your budget is will just be entered in here, divided by 20. My daily budget is $500. Now, any day I can spend up to $1,000. So knowing that, am I comfortable spending $1,000 to get the conversions or not? So really keep that in mind if you're starting out, that whatever that budget is, isn't necessarily the absolute cutoff position. Google does have a variance there. Now, bidding models is where we're going to sort of have to think about a little bit more than what we normally would. So Google have their manual and their automated bid strategies. So because we don't have conversion data right now, we're limited. So we can't go for a target CPA because that relies on conversion data. We're not going for a target return on advertising spend or a ROAS campaign because we're not selling products. We don't have a sort of marginal return. Like we don't have a set dollar figure like a shopping cart would. Maximize conversions, maximize clicks we can use. Maximize conversions we do need conversion data for as well. Maximize conversion value is once again for e-commerce. Target impression share is more for brand awareness, such as Coca-Cola trying to advertise everywhere and everywhere. Don't use target impression share for this. We're going to choose manual CPC purely based on the fact that it's the most control. If you are looking to go to a manual or an automated bid strategy, pick maximize clicks. It'll learn faster and it will grab data faster than what manual CPC will. So you choose that if you are looking to go an automated bid strategy like CPA targeting in the future. We're going to go manual. I don't want to use the enhanced CPC. I don't see value in it for this industry. It has values in other industries, but from my reporting and data, I can't see value in it. Now, your ad schedule and how you want to create ad schedules, what days you're working. It's typically Monday to Friday, and obviously just enter your hours. I'm from 7 till 6, so 24-hour time. Ad rotation. If you're looking to do a low management ad sort of campaign, don't really want to manage it too often, you don't really want to go in too often, use Optimize. If you are someone that really wants to control and have ultimate control over your performance and make continual tweaks to get the best performance, do not optimize. We're going to pick do not optimize because as an ad agency, we like that ultimate control. We like to go in and have that control, know what's happening and make improvements over time to get better results in the future. We're going to leave ad extensions for right now because we'll create them later. From here, we're now creating our ad groups. So we do want to select standard, make sure you're not selecting dynamic. And we want to create this as suburb. So in each area, we're going to have 2 different suburbs. So for this instance, we're going to have a default bid of $5. We don't want it to be expensive, even though I know that those bids are not going to, like $5 won't get me anything in the plumbing industry for a Google Ads click. I do know that I don't want to set a bid higher than the average bid. So in here, what I'm going to do is put my blocked drain terms. So when I'm creating those, what I want to do is things like Castle Hills locked drains. I have a list over to the left here, which is what I'm doing. So we want to do 2 or 3 different keyword types. So you can see here you've got broad match, phrase match, and exact match. There is also a fourth one called broad modified, which is what we're going to use for this. So we don't want, I'm not going to jump into this video of how each one of these works, mainly because I can speak for an hour about it. So we're going to skip over that for now. But in short, Castle Hill block drains can appear for anything that's Castle Hill related, anything block drains related, anything blocked related, anything drains related, anything hills related, anything castle related. You don't want that. So by adding a plus before each keyword allows you to rank for anything in between, any words in between these words, any order of these words, as long as all 4 of these words appears in that query. Or plural, don't worry about plural. So this will cover no plural, this will cover block, this will cover hill. It'll cover all the different variants of the spelling of this in any order with words in between or after or before. After that, we want to put Castle Hills block drains in square brackets. This is called exact match. So the keyword has to appear in the exact order, in the exact spelling of this keyword. Plurals are the exception. So that and that are effectively the same thing. So that and that is effectively the same thing. So don't worry about doing the variants of plural, that is fine, as long as it's in this exact order. So we do need to make the reverse order. So that. Now, the last type of keyword is the phrase match, which is done in quotes. So Castle Hills block drains. So this will be any order of any of these keywords, plurals, except it doesn't have to have each word. We can cut this word, we can, as long as it's in the target area. So typically you'll have Castle Hills. It's very topical, but this will pick up the majority of the keywords here that are not included in your exact match. Now Google will suggest some keywords because the way we're setting it up isn't the way that this tool really works, that we're going to really leave it out for right now. We're going to save that as is. Now creating an ad, you need to determine where your ad's going to go. So for this blocked drains keyword, there's no reason to send it to the home page. We really want to send that to the dedicated block drains page. So we'll grab that block drains page and we'll add it here. That's going to add topical relevance to the landing page and the experience in which they have. So when they click your ad, they're going to land on a page that is about block drains, has your phone number, has Castle Hill written in it. It's very topical. From there, we want to create what is called the title. Now, you get 3 options of titles, and there's more as you create the next ads. But what you want to do here is do a little bit of research. So do your search for your keyword that you're really targeting for, Castle Hill, block drains. Now, if you're not seeing anything because the people are targeting certain areas, as we discussed before, you can use this tool here by technicalseo.com. It is a tool that I personally use and find is really helpful. So you can actually control where Google thinks you are. So as you can see here, it thinks I'm in Tennawah, Queensland, but on this one, it's going to say New South Wales, and it thinks I'm in Castle Hills. So I'm now seeing more relevant ads based on where it thinks I am. So we're going to look at the keywords that they're using: fixed block drains, Castle Hill. So they've got the word block drains, Castle Hill, block drains, Castle Hill, emergency plumber, Castle Hill. This is less topical, and as they're going to actually pay more for that position than possibly this one here, just because it's less topical and your ad quality score will be less. This clear block drains from $69. So I don't personally like shortening words. It adds a sort of negative effects to how the user engages, and you'll find a less conversion rate. Now there's a few things to keep in mind here. You've got the top ads, you've got the absolute top ads, and then you've got the bottom ads. So you don't want the bottom ads. They get a lot of impressions, they don't seem to get a lot of clicks, and the conversions that come from those clicks are actually quite low. So you really want these top 2, if not top 3 positions. So top 1, typically way more expensive. It's typically 30% more expensive in this industry than the second position. So are you going to get a 30% better conversion rate for that? No. So we normally target the second position, and in the service industry, people normally shop around. So people will normally click on the first ad, make a phone call, realize that they can't get a price over the phone, and they'll call the second company. So occasionally they'll call the third company as well. So typically this first ad will see a equal to or worse off conversion rate than the second ad. So the second ad is definitely where I'd focus on, but by all means, spend the extra money and get that first ad if you really want to dominate your, suburbs and areas and be the dominant company within that area. So we've got the words that we want to use, what they're sort of using in their description. So licensed, free quote, professional and friendly, guaranteed service. They're using really good terms for creating trust and emergency. So block drain is typically classed as an emergency, so you really want emergency terms. So don't do this, but to save some time, we're going to copy and paste this. Don't do that. It's not a good strategy or good look to be seen doing exactly what someone else is doing. However, we're saving time here. Now, what we really want to focus on is our keywords that we entered in the last screen. So we entered words like block drains, Castle Hill. Now that term is very powerful. So we can actually enter that right here. So by using open bracket, keyword, title match, Castle Hills, block drains. With that. Now we're actually over, so what we can do is just get it down. We don't like free quotes anyway. So what this will do is we'll actually replace this sentence here with whatever the user searched for. So if the user searched for, Castle Hills block drains plumber, it's going to have Castle Hills block drains plumber. If for whatever reason it's too long, it will use the default. If they search for block drains in Castle Hills, it'll put that keyword in here. It'll create higher relevance and have a better CTR. The same goes for the title. So what they have done is fix Castle Hills block drains. Fix block drains Castle Hills. So if I was to have in this instance, I would have had fixed Castle Hills block drains. You can have it anyway, so this is a better strategy to use. Now for the heading 2, once again, we're just going to steal a couple bits of information off them, just to save time. Not sure how they fit that in there if I can't. So once you've got your 3 headlines done, you want to create a path. So you want to create that path that relates to where you're setting the traffic. So Castle Hills locked trades. So this is the keyword and the keyword. So that's going to create more relevance to the user. That's something that these guys aren't utilizing. And what you'll find is they're all generic. They're not really targeting an area. The reason this is so powerful is because when you search for a suburb and you do see that exact matched keyword within the URL is already that. You see it everywhere. You start to see and trust that business a little bit more. So we're going to finish that. Now, we recommend creating 2 of these, and Google recommends creating 2 of these as well. For this, we're just going to create the one, just because this video can drag out now. So now we've got our suburb ad group in here. Now, this is once again how I said your rankings will appear based on your quality score is from an ad group level. So we really want to make sure that we're keeping the keywords in each ad group to a bare minimum, absolute bare minimum. If you stray too far out of this, so you go Castle Hills blocked tap, it's actually different. So create a new category or a new campaign called blocked tap. The reason you don't want to do that in here is because your quality score for a tap term, someone searching for a tap, block tap, your ads are suggesting that you're doing drains. Completely different thing. So the quality in which the user experiences is less, and thus Google passes on a less quality score for you. And in turn, you actually pay more for that ad click than someone targeting a better quality score. So really try and break this up into very few keywords per ad group. Now, in saying that, because taps and blocked and drains is very similar, you could fit that taps under a new ad group. So instead of having suburbs, you'd have taps. So you're still using, as we drew up here, we're still using the same hours for taps, we're still using the same location for taps, and taps fits within our budget. So we can include it. If it fits out of any of those, then we'll discard it. You do want to keep them sort of blocked up like create blocks of keywords in campaign levels, not ad group levels. Now from here, we want to click on the campaign and we want to make a few adjustments. So the advanced bid adjustment for a phone call. So the phone call ad extension is this one. So you can see the phone call there. It also appears very prominently on a mobile device. Now, you want that phone number there. If they don't have to click to your website and they're willing to make a phone call from this page, you want that because that is, even better for you. They're making that instant conversion. So you want that bid adjustment to be 30 or 40%. So you make that bid adjustment 20 or 30%. Whilst we're here, we should pause the campaign so we don't get our ads going live. So you really want that bid adjustment at 40%. And now how we're going to gauge this in the future, after a month of being live, we'll come in and look at what our conversion data is. And if it is above the account level average, we will pull it down a bit. If the average conversion of a call extension is below, we'll actually up it. So this could be a massive number at the end, as long as that average conversion cost is lower than what the account level average is. Now in terms of devices, this is an interesting sort of bit of information that maybe most ad agencies won't realize or won't know or know how to find out. So click fraud is one killer of a beast. It's not a great thing to come up against, and in the service-based industry, it's actually really common. What click fraud is when, let's say I'm a plumber in Castle Hill, I actually do a search for Castle Hill block drain, and I go click all these guys' ads. It's costing them, these ads are costing them $80 to $90 per click in this area. One click is $80 or $90. So I'm costing them money. I'm not obviously going to convert. So that's a click fraud. Horrendous way to do business. Don't do that ever to anyone. It's really disgusting. Even if you're searching for a business that you're looking for, click on their organic result. Don't click on their ad. It costs a lot of money. It's not a good thing to do. Yes, competition's difficult. Yes, they're doing it to you. That doesn't mean you have to do it back. It's just, as an industry, as a business owner, if I can encourage more people not to do it, that's better for everything. So typically when someone does that though, they're doing that off a computer. It's a lot easier to do it off a computer. Now, what you'll also find is people that are cold calling, agencies that, like myself, we don't cold call, but like ourselves, looking up a plumber to sign up. We would then click on all these and call them. But we're going to do that off a computer because it's significantly faster to do off a computer than it would be off a tablet or a mobile. So you'll find you'll get a lot more cold calls, but they look like genuine conversions on reports, but they're actually cold calls coming from computers. So typically in the service-based industry, I'll add a negative of say 50 to 80%. Now, I do recommend running your ads in your area. If you're in a small area, you're not in a main CBD or in a main heavy trafficked area, probably not a big concern. If you're in a big area, start from scratch, do the bid adjustment down. That way, you're not going to get too many fraud clicks. People do fraud clicks off mobile and tablets as well, but it's far less. So do a bid adjustment down of 50%. Look at the report in a month and go, okay, we're getting no conversions or some conversions, or the conversions are all crap. It's really around the reports and the data that comes in from those. Ad schedule, obviously we set that from 7 till 8. If you do want to go a little bit more in depth, let's say you want to target the mornings because you really want to target morning calls, you can add each day individually. Let's say we want to do Monday between 7 and 9 because I'm trying to get jobs for myself or the boys. We can then add that and then add a bid adjustment of say 40% upwards. So we're happy to pay 40% more than we set out at max bid was, which in this instance was $5. We're happy to pay 40% more than that to get a call within those hours. So that's really powerful in this industry. Now, Google used to have what's called accelerated bidding, where it would use all your budget as soon as possible in the morning. Google changed that, so now it's just standard. So they're going to try and use your budget throughout the entire day. As a new account, it doesn't know when those clicks are going to come. So typically it's later in the afternoon. As your account starts to get more data and become more authoritative in Google's eyes, you'll start to see calls come out more without towards the day. However, if you've got a low budget, like a really low budget of say your conversions are costing you $20 and your budget is $100, you really need to consider your hours. If you do hours like this and this long, that $100, it doesn't know when to spend it because it doesn't know when it's going to, it doesn't know how to spend that dollar the best because it's got such a wide sort of area to have to spend it in. So typically you'll find the afternoon gets you the calls. If you do have a low budget, look at making your ads go from 7 to 11. Short hours, Google goes, okay, you've only got 4 hours, we have to spend $100 in that 4 hours. Typically your conversion cost will be the same, but it gets to spend it in a quicker time. That's really important because with smaller budget, it creates a huge difficulty of managing longer hours. In terms of locations, this is where those suburb postcodes will come in handy. So we'll come in here, we'll click edit, remove Sydney because obviously we don't want to target Sydney. So you can see that Google in Australia anyway, I know it's different in America, in Australia typically most of our suburbs are postcodes and that's how they know them. So we want to click this add locations in bulk, add our postcodes and click search. Now it doesn't understand what this postcode was, which is fine. We want to scroll down this and make sure that they're all New South Wales. Occasionally you'll see one suburb that's in a different country and obviously you don't want to target that. So we click target all. So it's going to go and add all those suburbs to that map. If you get zoomed out like this, that means that there's a suburb over here somewhere that also got included. In this instance, it was accurate. Now, our 15 kilometre range was over here, but because these suburbs are so large, they go well outside of that. So you can either choose to click these and remove them, knowing there's 12,000 people in them, and define your zones a little bit better. Now, if you end up like this where there's big gaps, what you can do is click on this little icon and click postcodes. If you zoom in on those, you'll see that it's turned grey, and now I can include those. This also works for going out, doing areas in different ways as well. But in this instance, we've got it pretty perfect. So you'll click save on that. Now, because we have so many suburbs in Australia, and so many suburbs name the exact same thing in Australia, what you'll find is someone searching for Blacktown, that might also be in Western Australia. If someone searches for Blacktown Plumber, you don't want to appear if they're over in Western Australia because we have that setting set. What you need to do is go to excludes, Victoria, and add all the states in which you're not trying to target. So ACT, South Australia, Western Australia, Northern Territory, Tasmania. I normally just add New Zealand as well. I also add some of the heavy hitters in terms of quick fraud, such as India, USA, Canada, United Kingdom, Russia, China, there's a couple more, but I'll go with this. So exclude. So we don't want to target any of these areas. So if any one of these areas searches, we won't appear. Now, you can take this to another level, and you can click on save, click edit again, go back in and select this and go all areas. So if you're really pedantic about wasted money, go in and exclude big areas in a radius of your area. So if you're really not willing to travel that distance, obviously the more you zoom in, the more suburbs get revealed. Obviously detecting Sydney would red out. So red overrules, or negative suburbs overrule positive suburbs. So in this case, none of those suburbs would ever get seen. So make sure that you're not having red over your area. And then exclude all those areas. So that's being really pedantic. Don't need to do that, but it is an extra thing that you could do. I don't recommend going all the way out here and whatnot, purely based on the fact that this map will only show you 250 different locations. If you do all of that, except this, what you'll find is that's way over 250, and it will show you nothing on the map, so it's really hard to manage. So save. Now, back in the targeted, we can also, if you don't have the time to find all those postcards, or you didn't use the tool, or whatever not, you can also do what's called a radial targeting. So radius 15 kilometers around Castle Hill. So once again, those bigger suburbs will be included in this. So if that's the case and you really don't want that, change that to a smaller radial. So now it's there. You can also use a pin So let's just say there or there. Do whatever you will there, but click save. So I normally overlap them. So I have two. Just I don't trust everything that Google has. There's all those gaps. I don't know whether that's just their map or whatnot. I just like two just for the reassurance that I know that I've got everything covered. In terms of settings, once again, we've turned and tuned to most of these settings already. We're not going to do dynamic search campaigns that don't really seem to perform very well for the service industry, so we'll leave that. Our locations are set, our display network's set, everything's set in here correctly. Placements, we don't need to worry about placements, that's there because the display network is turned on. We don't need to worry about that. Demographics, I tend to leave, however, you can modify them later in the future. Now, based on reports, you can see different varying data. I do actually know that females convert higher than males for plumbing. I do know that certain age groups are going to convert less, such as 18s to 24s. Leave it. It's better to leave it and let Google determine the performance and how the performance runs out over a 6-month period, say. Have a look at this report, work out whether it's costing you too much or not, and make a judgment call from data, not just instinct. Audiences we set earlier. Not sure why they're not there. This is where we search for that plumbing stuff. So save those. Save those at a campaign level, not at an ad group level. So you can manage them from an ad group level as well. Just create it as a campaign level because then it's applied to everything below. Keywords, obviously we'll leave those alone for now. When Google goes live, it'll show you these as being, not priced up enough. They need to be more expensive. So what you'll do is click this and come up with some prices, click apply to the price, and that's good to go. Now in here, you've also got negative keywords. You want to add negative keywords. So I recommend creating a master negative list, so in negative lists, and then you can share that negative list. Now, I don't have any set up, and I'm not going to set any up because we've got this joined to our master account. But what you want to include in here is things that you do not want to appear for. You don't want to appear for things like porn, adult, or apprenticeships. You don't want to appear for electrician. Now, because we've got the word gas in there, we don't want to appear for car gas repairs, so car, caravan. I've got a list of 800 of these. So you've got to go crazy, and you'll typically find every week you'll find new ones in there. What you can also do is go to the yellow pages, search for companies in your area, and add all the companies in here. Now, the reason for doing that is because you don't want to appear for someone searching for a local company. If I'm searching for pure plumbing, your ad doesn't want to show up. The conversion rate is going to be horrendous, and you're going to pay a lot for it. You're best off listing all your competition, things like apprenticeships, things like traineeship, how to, why, how can I, DIY, Bunnings, minor 10, things like that you're likely to be targeting people doing DIY stuff here. You don't want to rank for those words. So make sure that this negative keyword is something that you really put into consideration and spend a lot of time in. Like I said, we've got 800 just for the plumbing industry, and they differ from industry to industry. So that's really important to make sure that you get this absolutely perfect and well thought about. Now, when your account has been active and live, you can actually come into this search terms. You'll get a list of search terms in here. You can tick the ones that you don't want, and over time you can build that negative list up. But we recommend, at least spending time to start off with to save wasted spend. Now, in the ads, we do need to add some more ads. So in here, we've got our one ad. It'll get approved at some point. We want to add a responsive search ad as well. So responsive. Actually, quick note, don't add call-only ads or responsive display ads. We're purely targeting search. Call only ads don't work for the service industry. Don't know why, they just don't. When creating a responsive search ad, it allows Google to pick out of your titles, descriptions, what the best combination of those are, dependent on the different query the person searched for. So we can have a bunch of titles, as there is a max. So set different titles all the way down, such as save here, different ways of writing this, fill it out. Also create 4 different unique descriptions. Those 4 unique descriptions can be placed in any order. If, for example, you do want this to be displayed in the first position and only in the first position, set that. The same goes for the second and third positions as well. So it's not recommended, but it's an option. So you would fill out this, create that as well. As well as that, make sure that you include your keywords in there. So think about the keywords that you've got, write them down somewhere else like in your notepad, and make sure that each one of those is included at least once within the combination of the description and the title. As well as that, we want to create what's called extensions. So extensions are what we see here. So you've got site link extensions, you've got structured data extensions somewhere, structured data extensions, you've got call out extensions, you've got location extensions, you've got all these different extension types. So make sure that you're using those. Now, make sure that you use and link your Google Ads, so your Google My Business listing, which is your, if we search for us, this is the Google My Business listing. So use that and link it to your Google Ads account. The reason for that is when someone searches for Castle Hills block drains and it realizes that you're in Castle Hills, you can actually get an ad right here. Now it's 7 o'clock on a night, so no one's displaying an ad there, but you can get that ad and it is really powerful. So make sure that you do that. So click add, site link extension, and create your site link extension. Do the same for call extension, which we've already got, so don't do that. Call out, structured snippet, promotion if you do have a promotion or an offer like the $0 call out fee or whatnot, and do the location extension. So set those up. I'm not going to go into detail because once again I can go right in, spend hours doing that, so I won't do that. Now from here, you've now done the suburb related, so block drains, Castle Hills as keywords. Now what we want to do is create another ad group and just call it general. Same goes for this. We're just going to set it to $5 just for now. That'll have to update in the future. Now we do want to include the more generic terms. Now think about the terms before you add them. Drain cleaner, you don't want to rank for. That's a liquid, that's a product. You're not selling that. You don't want people to do it themselves. Sink blocker, you don't want to target that because that's someone trying to do it themselves. So really think about these before you add them. Now, I could go on forever for these as well, but what we're going to do is plus them all, copy, remove the pluses. I should have done copy paste before I added them. Then add the different types. So now we've got our broad match modifiers, the exact match, and the phrase match keywords, and we'll save that. So we'll obviously add a lot more in the big picture. Make sure that you do your ads again. You want 2 ads that are of the expanded text ads, which are these ads, and then 1 of the bigger ads that we showed there, responsive display ads. So we would obviously add the keywords and modify that to relate less towards a suburb and more towards the generic term. That's really important for the ad quality score. So once again, each should have 3 ads within it. Now, what you would also do is create, so this is pretty much it for block drains. So now what we would do is duplicate so once you get this perfect, always get the first one absolutely perfect. All your ads, you can go as many ads as you want each one, get them absolutely perfect. Don't miss anything. Get your locations perfect, your settings perfect, your demographics, audiences, everything absolutely spot on. And then what you can do is go into all campaigns, copy, paste. That would duplicate it. Then what you would do is just rename it to the next suburb. So part of our suburbs list, we would grab, say, prospect, paste that. So we would have effectively 131 block drains campaigns. Then we would have 131 hot water, 131 gas, general, near me, and emergency. As you can see, that would be near on 1,000 different campaigns. It adds up real quick. So really consider the intent in which people have. Now, there are better and faster ways to create this, and one of those is Google Ads Console. There's an actual download software that you can use. The ads editor. This allows you to duplicate, copy, paste, you create everything offline. It's significantly faster when setting these up. So for me to set up 1,000 campaigns, each with 2 categories within them, that's 2,000 ad groups, or with at least 3 ad groups in it, that's 3,000 ads. All specifically targeting a set area. So all those ads would then have, all those ad groups would have Prospect, Castle Hill, all the suburbs within each category. It would then have all the ads linking exactly to that suburb or that category of work. To create that takes me roughly a week to do about 1,000 different campaigns. It's a very time-consuming thing to do, but it pays dividends on your results. You could add all the suburbs within here, so I could effectively, as a shortcut, if you don't have the time to spend, you could paste them all there. So typically what you would do is, in a bulk editor like this, I can do a find replace for a line break, so a break in the line, and then search for block drain space, and then find replace. Add it to the first line. So now I've added all those, now I've got it in front of all those keywords, and now what we want to do is find that line break again, add a plus, you would copy them into 3 different types, find that ad group again, put a plus there, so now there's a plus in front of each of the lines, and then you want to find a space, so replace that line break with a space, and replace that line break with a space, and you want to put space plus. So that's just created all my broad ones. Very similar would apply for this, so you would do close bracket, open bracket, damn it, did the wrong way, close bracket, open bracket, find replace all. You would need to modify the first and last line because the line break didn't apply for those lines. I've now got my exact match, so I can paste those at the bottom of my broad match modifiers, and obviously this one would be quotations and replace all, and then obviously apply those to the first and last. Now, to be really specific, I could then go in and do each one of these reverse order as well. To be even more specific, I could divide the exact match, the broad match, and the phrase match into different ad groups as well to be even more in depth. So there's a few different ways you can do it. Now, doing it this way, I'll just apply that just to show you. So that's how I recommend doing it, but this way is also good. Now, the difference here is your ad campaign that normally has Castle Hill written on it can't have Castle Hill written on it because they're searching for different suburbs. So you would replace that with just something generic. This, you would have something generic as well, and you'd make it more generic in total. Now, because we do have the prospect block drains, we can now copy that. Now, the faster way to do this is to then go back into here, reverse all these ones, do a line replace with this, replace. So now we can't have spaces, so we'd replace spaces with dashes. That's just how we've programmed it. So spaces aren't allowed in our URLs. Now I can copy one of these and paste it. It's fully customized. The best way to add those is to go to the keywords, select all, just download as CSV. That'll give you a document with all the final URLs, and then you can add those in bulk and then upload it using the upload form. So for the prospect one, you can do it singly as well, just like this. So now that actual landing page for this keyword is going to be prospect. So obviously I have 3 of these, which is the broad match modifier, the phrase match, and the exact match. So I need to apply that 3 places. So having that creates that personalized experience once again, which really pays dividends in the relationship you have with the customer, and then you get a higher conversion rate. You also get a cheaper cost per click because the quality score is higher. So you really want to keep that in mind. Now, this isn't as good. What you'll find is some suburbs have different buyer intent. Some suburbs are more competitive. Some have different ad groups. Some have different performance. Some are filled with renters that plumbers can't convert for. So your quality score on average, because you've got one set of ads for all these keywords, the quality score is significantly less. Now, you can get the quality score by coming in here. I'll set all the columns that I usually use. And click apply. So now my columns are far more detailed. Now, quality score is a score from 0 to 10. Typically you want a perfect 10. It's very unlikely that you're going to get everything as a perfect 10, but that's your target. Now, because we've got one set of ads for so many different types of keywords with so many different audiences, the likelihood of that average working for everything is very low. Splitting it up into separate campaigns, you could control that metric and have nearly everything as a perfect 10 because you're targeting exact keywords to exact ads. It's very powerful. Now, you can get a good idea of what is what is causing a high and low quality score by these 3 metrics. So the expected CTR, so the click-through rate. So people with more appealing ads will get a higher click-through rate. So you want an above average. Ad relevance, so you want your ad to be perfectly relatable to what sellers search for. So you want high relevance and the experience they're having on the landing page. So including keywords, fast landing pages, everything like that helps with that quality score. These other metrics I won't go into. That's more in a reporting video than a setup video, but we'll go into those in another video. So whether you go this option or the other option of setting it up by campaigns and having the 1,000 campaigns is up to you. This is obviously a lot quicker, and I've nearly pumped it out already, so it's a lot faster to do it this way, but the quality of the results are not the same. From there, we want to go ahead and look at the fraud protection. So we use ClickSeize. ClickSeize seems to do a really good job. Now, what it does is pretty much scans people that have clicked your ad too many times. There's configurable options. People that are going to them or using a VPN, which is just VPNs are becoming more popular, so I probably wouldn't block those, but there are certain configurations that they have in here that you can set to stop people continuously clicking your ad, costing you money, costing your business money. Now, they aren't cheap. They are quite expensive in the big scheme of things, but they're actually quite affordable when you look at how much a click is in the service-based industry. ClickSeize is pretty easy to set up. Just create an account, pay your money. They'll request access to manage. You click approve. It's pretty well done. Their support is amazing. Like they'll respond instantly. It's really good. So I recommend using ClickSeize. If you don't use click fraud protection, you'll end up with more people clicking your ads, a lot of wasted money, a lot of wasted revenue. You will save more than $50 in the first week of running ads. I kid you not. It'll save you a lot of money. Highly recommended. We are not affiliated or partnered with them in any way. I just highly recommend ClickSeize. There are heaps of others out there. That's just the one we personally use. In terms of your conversions and how conversions are considered in Google Ads, we need to set that up. So coming into tools, we need to set up conversions right here. So go to conversions, and yours will look exactly like mine because it's a new account. Click plus. Now, Google have detailed conversions in here. Now, I personally prefer to use Google's analytics to track my conversions. However, it is a harder configurable thing to set up. I think it's more accurate. Google tends to find that it's very, even with what theirs is. But phone calls, click on phone calls, calls from ads using call extensions. Yes, we want that. Set it up. Set up the name that you want to use it as. We don't need a dollar figure. We're not associating dollar figures to phone calls. Click every as the count. Click on 10 seconds for the call length. So as soon as the call is pretty much connected, you want to be considered as a conversion. Now, this is really important that you set this low in the service industry, because if you're doing an automated campaign and you've set it high, you're going to see lower conversions. Now, when Google sees lower conversions on an automated campaign, you typically start to drop off and stop being seen online. Google want to see conversions. If you're setting your conversion goals too high, you're pretty much biting yourself in the ass in the long run. So set it low. 30-day window is nothing in this industry. You'll find that 99.9% of conversions are done on the same day. Include in conversions, yes, and change your attribution model to whatever fits you best. I use time decay, but last click is fine. So you'd set that up. You'd also set up a phone call for people that are on your website. So you don't need to set up one of each of these because we're using the one. So you click continue. Then what we'd do here differently, I think we actually have to set this up to get to the next step. So just do the same as we just did. Now we want to install the code on our website. So we have Google Analytics installed. So you would just add this code and your phone number. So 300 755 306 create snippet. So we can add this script so we'd add this and this to our website. Now what that will actually do is assign a 1-800 number to your number. So it will find your number on the website, so we'd actually have to show that number. It will find that number and replace it with an 1-800 number. Now, when you call that 1-800 number, it still makes it to you, but Google knows it's gone through Google's network and it knows that a call has gone through. So it allows it to contribute that to a conversion. So that works really well. Having the 1-300 number works equally as well. And you can use Google Analytics to set an event to that. So in our code, we've got an event associated to that. So when someone clicks on call, we mark that as conversion. So we do it a little differently. However, for 98% of the people setting these up, you really just want to use Google's way. Now, you also want to set up a website conversion as a lead. Set the conversion as website conversion. Set for every. We don't need a value associated to it. Click no. So what this will do is allow you to install once again another code to your website. So you want to install this on a set page. So in this instance, our conversion page, if you were to fill out this form, would take you to a page called SKAG-U. So we would install it on that page, this script. That's how it would know that a conversion has gone through. Now you can also use a click event, which is what we would typically use, but a page load is fine. So that's how you would set that up. Once those are set up, you are now set to go for your conversions. So if you get to a point in which you've launched your campaign, you've set everything live, and you're 2 days in, and you've got no clicks, don't worry about it. Previously, Google used to run ads very aggressively. You could turn on a brand new account, same day, and start to get instant results, instant clicks. It does not work like that anymore. Google want to bill you first, so they'll bill you to start out with at $500. So once you've spent $500, they'll send you a bill, you'll pay it. Then when you start to work up, it becomes $1,000. As you start to get billed a couple times, it'll be $1,000. So what you actually you'll find is they want to bill you first before they start sending you really high quality traffic or a lot of traffic. So your first month is typically pretty bad in the service-based industry. It's just bad. Your cost per click will be high, your clicks will be low, your cost of conversion will be high. It'll just look horrendous. However, it does pick up. So because they want to bill you, typically you set a higher budget for your first month that you're comfortable with and have a lower budget per month after that. So if I've got $10,000 to spend this month, I might set 20 grand aside for this month just to start getting data through. It's not going to spend anything near that. I guarantee you that, because Google don't want to send you $10,000 worth of traffic and then you just jump away and never pay it. They won't do it. So it starts out slow. That's how it is. You can't just turn it on anymore. Leave those couple of days at the start to just be slow and do what they have to do before you start to get a lot of traffic. Now, once you have 100 conversions, you're able to change over to a automated bid strategy. Now, if you set it up this way with all the keywords within one campaign, it works really well. If you set it up with the 1,000 ad groups, which is what I highly recommend doing, and spending the time to set up each one properly, it won't work fine, because Google has to split your budget from an ad group's perspective. Let's say you've got $500 a day to spend. You've got 1,000 different ad groups to split that across. That's your daily budget per campaign. You're not going to get a single click. So it just doesn't work. So using a manual campaign, it'll work perfectly, because you can split. So what you would do is go to here, shared budgets. So you can share all the 1,000 with the one budget, so it shares that budget. But once again, Google's going to calculate it and go, okay, we've got clicks in here that are valued at $80 a click. Some are 20, some are 30, some are 40. Plumbing in Sydney is very expensive. But $80 a click is, a high-end click. $40 is about average. So a $40 click times by, all these keywords is 132 in here. it's then looking at your budget going, you can't afford to spend that much. So it stops displaying ads for you. It's very limiting. It actually holds you back. So if you've got a low budget, typically target less suburbs, less areas, less keywords, because it can split your budget far better than what having an automated campaign is. Now, if you have an automated campaign split across too many keywords, once again, a low budget will be very limiting. If you hit your daily budget in a day, you're not reaching your full potential, your best cost of conversion. The more you spend, the lower your conversion will be. The more conversions you'll get, the better Google will favor your ads over someone else's. It's a data-driven fact. You don't let Google hit your daily budget. If your budget is being consumed, delete or pause keywords that are costing too much per conversion. Have fewer keywords. You'll find that you'll still hit your budget. You'll still hit it. Get it down until your budget isn't getting hit. Focus on the few that are making the best profit for you, not targeting the most suburbs. Target fewer suburbs at a better cost of conversion. It'll get you more calls in the long run. Even if you're doing manual, don't just set everything to $500. If you set everything, let's say, to $80 per keyword, and you set that for all of them, it's going to calculate 132 times by 80. Your budget's $500. There's not much of 80 that can fit into 500. It just won't work. Work out using first paid bid. It'll tell you what it reckons that the cost will cost you. Set your budget just above that. Set it to just above that estimate, and that way your average bid won't be $80. They'll be all staggered and different, but at least it's accurate. At least it's using better math to work out whether it can serve ads for you or not. So don't go overboard. Don't get after 2 or 3 days, get to the point where you're like, oh, I'm not getting impressions, I'm not getting clicks, I'm just going to up the bid. That'll help. It won't. It'll actually plummet. It'll have a worse effect because Google's not showing your ad because you can't afford to show your ad. Lower how many keywords you target, lower the ad groups, have less target for a smaller budget to allow you to get better results. Now in Australia, for a plumber, your cost of conversion is anywhere from $20 to $250. Sydney, a $200 conversion is pretty normal. It's expensive. On the Central Coast where I am, $12, $15, maybe $20 on the high end is a good conversion cost. So it's split up pretty massively. If you're happy to pay more conversions, you're going to get more calls. That's how it works. Automated campaigns work really well for bigger budgets or people with less keywords to target. If you go into the depth that we go into for creating these, we will have to split it up in such a way where a smaller budget will be spent better than a large budget. So a large budget we can open more up. So using an ad agency like us will allow us to target a lot more keywords for a less budget or get a better cost of conversions whilst having the lowest cost per click in an industry standard against your competition. So based on your quality score, if you've got a quality score of 7, that means someone else has a quality score of 10. Even if you're in the first or second position, that first position may be costing them less per click because their quality score is better than yours. So having it split up is far better in every way, shape and form for creating better conversions. I'm going to cut the video there. I'm going to run into another video probably next week about going into reports and how to generate good reports, how to work off data once your campaign's live. And I'll put some screenshots of a live campaign we have. I'm not going to load it up because I need to edit out personal information as they're a live client. But I'll add a live campaign to show the depth it goes into, and then I'll also put in our video about the report, it'll be a voiceover of screenshots that I've generated more so than a live interactive video because I do need to hide people's data. So it's far easier to edit photos than it is to edit video and hide data on video. So I'll do it via photos, but there will be a follow-up video. This isn't an easy thing to do or set up. It's a very hard technical thing to set up. if done properly, you can cut corners, but think about the result. At the end of the day, it's worth putting in the time to get the better result. If you have liked the content, please leave a comment, subscribe, like the video. If you do need any information, just ask. We're always happy to answer. Send us an email, give us a call. We're always happy to take calls and just help out. We're a business that really just cares about the results for the customer. We occasionally lose money on some clients. We spend countless hours doing free calls to help people out. We're not making any money. We do this because we genuinely care about your results. We will generate results better than what you can every day of the week, but occasionally someone can't afford to pay an agency and want to do it themselves. That's where we'll come in and advise you where to go and how to do it. We're more than happy to do that. We're not about the profit, we're about helping. We just have to charge for our time if we do it for you. So advice is always free. Feel free to call, feel free to email, happy to help. If there's any information that I missed, please leave it in the comments. I'll follow it up on a video. Once again, if there's anything, just give us a call.